If a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren, who are top contenders, get the nomination, would you support them?
So it sounds like the billionaires are getting scared. Michael Bloomberg, who said earlier this year that he would not run for president in 2020, now has sort of a different answer, or at least an answer that makes us question what he would do if Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders wins the nomination. Watch.
If a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren, who are top contenders, get the nomination, would you support them?
I'll have to see what happens down the road, but I will say that out of all the 20 candidates, I think everyone would be a better president than Donald Trump.
All right. Now, this is not a difficult question to answer. All you have to do is say, yes, I'll support whoever wins the Democratic nomination. But by not answering that question, I mean, he leaves the door open. He leaves the door open for either running himself or supporting someone like a third-party candidate like Howard Schultz, another billionaire. So this all stems from Bloomberg's own greed. I mean, look at his analysis of what should happen in this Democratic primary process. This is a quote from Bloomberg from earlier this year. It's essential that we nominate a Democrat who will be in the strongest position to defeat Donald Trump and bring our country back together, Bloomberg wrote. We cannot allow the primary process to drag the party to an extreme that would diminish our chances in the general election and translate into 4 more years. So this is Bloomberg's analysis, obviously following Hillary Clinton's loss in 2016. Hillary Clinton, the perfect candidate for Michael Bloomberg, the ultimate centrist, the ultimate moderate in his eyes. Somebody who is kind to the billionaire class like himself. And she lost. She lost the race. I mean, how often do we have to go over this? Why are we pushing similar candidates to what Hillary Clinton ran on in 2016? How does that make any sense? In order for a Democratic candidate to win, you have to excite the base out to vote. And not just the base out to vote. You have to excite non-voters off the couch to vote. And the way you excite non-voters is with a bold message, is with something transformative, something completely different, something like a Bernie Sanders candidacy who is actually challenging the wealth and the concentrated power in the system. Michael Bloomberg has benefited from this existing system. I find it very unlikely that he would support Bernie Sanders, but let's actually go into this just a little bit deeper, because I don't really think it would matter. Like, if Bloomberg doesn't support Bernie and he supports, say, I don't know, Howard Schultz, or runs himself, I actually think it would hurt the Republican Party, maybe even a little bit more than the Democratic Party. Because what you have here are basically these wealthy people on television and these CEOs, these billionaires at the top of society. They're the only ones that would not support a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren. But they are also the ones that are delivering you the news and giving you analysis, and the ones that they go to for discussions on these topics. Most of the people that give you the news on cable news or broadcast television, they are multimillionaires themselves. They themselves have benefited from this system. So they're not going to challenge this system in the same way that the vast majority of people in the country want to challenge the system. So you're going to continue having this skewed view on what the impact of a Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren actually is. So in their minds, there's no chance that Bernie can win against Donald Trump. Just completely absurd if you look at any data point at all. But that's how they view it, because in their world, it's crazy. In their bubble, Bernie Sanders, nobody I know would vote for Bernie Sanders. Yeah, because you know a bunch of millionaires and billionaires that benefited from the current system. Of course, nobody in your bubble is going to vote for Bernie Sanders. But the rest of the country, when you look at maps, just the recent map from the New York Times showing Bernie's individual donors all across the states, you see that he dominates. So the worry here, though, or I should say the worry that really shouldn't be a worry, is that I don't think it would really have much of an impact. Now, it'll have an impact on the media. Say Bloomberg supports Howard Schultz. The media will cover it and try to make it into something and try to make it into an actual challenge, an actual race. But the reality is They have no grassroots support. They have no on the ground support. They don't have any real support. What they will do, though, is they'll take some of the support, some of the, you know, the so-called moderates that still support the Republican Party because of tax cuts. They'll get some of those votes. So Howard Schultz or Michael Bloomberg will get some of those votes. And they'll also get votes from the Democrats that are also, you know, like Stephanie Ruhle, who are likely a Democrat, but support people like Hillary Clinton, support people that protect the status quo. A Howard Schultz or Michael Bloomberg will get those kinds of Democrats. But there aren't many of those kinds of people. Again, we are talking about a very exclusive club of people, a mixture of Republicans and Democrats that both love tax cuts for the rich. That's the kind of attention that a third-party billionaire candidate like Howard Schultz or Bloomberg will attract. So even though, you know, what Michael Bloomberg is saying here sounds like it may be a threat to a potential win for a Bernie Sanders, in reality, I don't really think it'll be that much of a threat. And I think there's a good chance that a third-party billionaire candidate will take as much support away from the Republican Party as they would from the Democratic Party.